Welcome back to Shelf Centered. I am in a bit of a different place than I usually am, and that it might change again too. But I did find some books. These are the books that are right by my nightstand, which I kind of gather my short stories and my random stuff that I can jump into at any time. I'm trying to work with the audio here. I did get a comment, and it was a first comment, and because we're on the internet here, it was telling me that I was doing everything wrong. No, that's exactly what it needed to, because as I think I've mentioned before, I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to try to speak up. I think before I was just barely mumbling. So that's part of some of the reasons I'm doing this. I want to get better at things, at speaking. I tend to not be too bad at speaking. I am a lawyer in real life. I'd go to court a lot, but I don't speak to cameras much. This is so awkward speaking to myself, so I want to get used to it though. I want to do things that are hard. As Logan Nine Fingers, quoting his father, always says, it's better to do a thing than to live with the fear of it. And I live by that. I like to live by that. So we're here for a book review. Book review for Later by Stephen King. Later by Stephen King. Holy cow. Possibly his newest in this moment for the 5 seconds until the next one comes out. Overall, just the TLDR, it was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was thrilling. I'll be honest, I don't know why a lot of his stuff goes under the hard case crime, because it's not really hard case, or there is definitely some crime. There was a cop involved, I guess. So that's what stretches it into this. But anyway, jumping into it. This will be spoiler free, and I've got books, so I can Booktube, right? That's all you need. So Later, first of all, I got to start with the title, and I know it from the beginning tells you how the narrator, who's the boy right there in the story, he's the narrator, and he tells you the story, and he warns you he's going to say later a lot. And he says later a healthy amount of times. It's part of the storytelling, and I didn't learn till later, and this is what I learned later. I do like the fact that it's used not as something to hide the ball from the reader, but actually to something that it's used as a device to actually inform the reader for the most part. So, and then, I found out later this thing, and so it's actually pretty good the way it's used. I will say, it's as a title, it's terrible. Who names something later? Just because you mention later in the book a lot, and again, I get it, and you can make that point that you mention later quite a bit, but to name the whole book Later, name it The Sixth Sense. That's what it is. It's a boy who sees ghosts. Name it Ghosts. Name it I See Dead People. I know. And so, sorry, getting into it. I haven't even gotten into it yet, but that's what it is. It's essentially Stephen King doing The Sixth Sense, and that means it's not the same. It even mentions it in the book. Hey, it's not like that movie. It's different, and it is. It's the Stephen King version of it. Though some of the ghosts, the ghouls, are pretty gruesome. It seems like. But this kid who sees dead people, it was interesting again, and Stephen King just does such a good job, even in his. I don't even know how old he is by now. At least in his 70s, right? He still can write a young kid so dang well. I think that's somehow he can do it, and he does it again here. I was counting it up, 17 Stephen King novels, including the full Dark Tower. So I'm still a relative noob, constant reader, but we're getting there slowly but surely. But I can't even keep up with his output still, so we'll see. But anyway, later, it's good. Like I said, it's good. It's from the perspective of this kid. His mom doesn't even believe him at first, but there's a couple things that happen where she starts to go, wait a sec, maybe he does have this skill. And so she's got this girlfriend who becomes kind of a bigger factor later on. Well, it's a big factor throughout the whole thing, and I believe that's who is featured here. So it's no spoilers. So they're struggling with. So instead of an author, instead of anyone being an author, though technically they do quite a bit of writing, the Jamie Conklin, his mom, is an agent. So agent to a writer and struggling. I have to say, as a lawyer, there were a couple of the decisions that were made. And I feel like talking first of all, stepping it back a little bit here. The plot is hard to just jump into without spoiling too much. And that's why I just want to kind of give the premise. It's kind of a I See Dead People type book, but with Stephen King. It's not the movie. But other than that, I feel like giving away too much more will give away the story. And it's not that long, and it's worth a read. It's a good read. It's a good fun one. Couple just I practice a couple areas of law, one of them being bankruptcy and one of them being family law. Some of these the decisions in this just didn't make sense to me, who considers bankruptcy a good thing. It's a good option to take, and it's not even mentioned in the book when they're having these struggles. So one of the struggles is that Jamie's mom, the literary agent, has taken over her brother, so Jamie's uncle's business, essentially. And but the uncle kind of has some mental health issues, to say the least. Seems like dementia or something like that, and he gets put away in this hospital. He's fine in a good way, nothing like put away. They've got him in like the finest hospital and whatnot. But as soon as but then it goes into that they have financial struggles, and then it's financial struggles because of him. And I'm like, how, unless you signed something, how would you be obligated for his debts? And why? I just don't see any place making you have to guarantee someone who's in like a hospice or nursing type home, because what ends up happening is you end up spending down any of your assets, and then you end up qualifying for Medicaid, and everybody wins there. So that's what just didn't. And it was like, okay, turn off the lawyer brain. It's okay, just get into the story. But that was a little rough. And then when they're just struggling, they can't live in their nice place anymore, and they move somewhere else. And I'm like, I mean, they have the right income, they meet the means test, and they have the what is it? It sounded like they didn't have many assets, so almost guaranteed they're going to qualify for bankruptcy. Boom, wipe out your debt, start all over, you're good to go. So anyway, sorry, just some minor quibbles there. But overall, really good story, really fun. I understand. So this is, like I said, I think this was actually, so I'd read 17 is what I counted on my Goodreads account, Stephen King books. Later is my 18th book, and for Stephen King, so I don't feel like I'm a noob by any means. I consider myself a constant reader. I read the whole Dark Tower. That's the good stuff. I am given to understand that later does have some multiverse connections, but darned if I had first understood when I heard multiverse connections. I had understood Dark Tower connections, so I was really excited, and that's why I picked this up so quickly. But I couldn't see any Dark Tower connections, and Dark Tower is one of my favorites. Holy cow, that's a good one. But I understand there's some multiverse, and I can get. I'm thinking I have like a little bit of an idea who it might be, or what some of this might be. So that's exciting for those who might be a little more well read with Stephen King than me, and I thought I was doing okay. So I will tell you, later is lots of fun, highly recommended. It's Stephen King. As I understand, I haven't read a lot of the newer stuff, although I did read Cell, was about the newest that I've read. Oh, Joyland too. Joyland I really enjoyed too. I guess I really like the hard case crime books that Stephen King does. But I haven't read a lot of the like newer ones, the Mr. Mercedes series or any of that, and I understand that that I don't know, the people have some issues. and I'm hearing a lot of he's back to form on this one, and I thought it was just really well streamlined. And again, I feel like Stephen King is one of those authors where he turns in the manuscript, and what are people going to do but go, here, I corrected you forgot a period here. But they're going to publish it. I mean, and if anything, they'll at least publish some. They're not editing this, right? I mean, people will buy it up no matter what. He's Stephen King. The Stand, they, published the full version instead of the edited version, and that's pretty much the only one that's sold anymore anyway. I figured they're just like, why even try? So you have these door stoppers, and I loved 11/22/63. I love The Stand. There's some really good ones that are door stoppers, but I do feel like there is a level of just here it all is, very little editing. This felt pretty streamlined and good to go. That was a lot of rambling for that. Out of 10, I would say this is a solid 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 sounds good to me. It's not quite an 8, but it's definitely not a 6. So very solid, good read. Have fun. Enjoy. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.